I want to welcome you back to the D-Lo Show. I am your host, Ryan D-Lo Delosier. And today we're going to go back to an episode that I covered back. I actually published this on February 23rd of 2026. This is the double life and tragic neglect of Kyleah Rose Tolle. And I wanted to go back and see what kind of updates we have on this. So if you remember, if you recall, if you can go back and take a look, this is what you would gather from my last update. So Kyleah Rose Tolle, she's a 20-year-old mother from Yakima, Washington, and she was arrested in February of 2025 after police discovered her children in horrific conditions during a welfare check. While she does not currently face a, quote, murder charge, she is facing several severe felonies related to the death of one child and the neglect of another. So her current status as of early 2026, Tolle has pleaded not guilty to all of these charges, and she is being held at the Yakima County Jail on a combined bail of approximately $25,000 for the child neglect case and a separate animal cruelty charge. Tolle is facing 5 felony charges in the primary case, many with domestic violence enhancements. The charges that she is facing are first-degree manslaughter for the death of her 7-month-old daughter, Cherry Rose Leanne Tolle. She's also wanted. She's also sitting on 2 counts of first-degree criminal mistreatment relating to the treatment of both her deceased infant and the surviving 2-year-old daughter. And then she's also sitting in there on 2 counts for family abandonment for leaving both children alone in a home. Just did that, and I don't know if that clicked or not. She left her 7-month-old and her 2-year-old in the home. In a separate, unrelated case, she's also charged with 2 counts of first-degree animal cruelty stemming from a 2023 incident where she allegedly starved 2 dogs, resulting in the death of one. So it started with dogs in 2023, 2 dogs neglected, and then one of them died. And then again, it's deep. Like, she did the same thing in 2025 while she's out, while they're waiting to decide whether or not to charge her on these first-degree animal cruelty charges, and then her 7-month-old dies, and her 2-year-old is severely neglected while she's just left them at home. So on February 25th of 2025, just a little over a year ago, Yakima police responded to a welfare check at an apartment on North 4th Avenue after Tolle reportedly called 911 stating she was leaving and planned to end her life. And so the officers, when they arrived at this apartment, they found the 7-month-old deceased in a bassinet, and an autopsy later determined that she died of severe dehydration. The 2-year-old was found severely malnourished in a crib and was rushed to Seattle Hospital for life-saving treatment. Tolle was tracked down after she made the 911 call. She was tracked down and she was arrested up on near Chinook Pass. So this is as you head out from Yakima. There are several ways, but if you head out to the west on Highway 12, and then it splits off into 410, which is Chinook Pass. You can actually head over to Tacoma that way. Not this time of year, it's closed, but she was heading off that direction, and she was arrested at Squaw Rock Resort, which is up there, and it's a Squaw Rock Resort and campground. It's northeast of Natchez, Washington. So just a little out of town right there, probably 30 to 40 minutes out of town. She happened to run out of gas out there. And then the case gained significant national attention, including a documentary by the Explore With Us, the EWU YouTube channel, which analyzed body cam footage and then Tolle's interrogation. Investigators noted a stark contrast between her neglected home and her active presence on social media platforms like OnlyFans. So yeah, she had this severely neglected home where she wasn't taking care of stuff, and there was like feces from animals in her house and just trash everywhere. And then she also, but she had an OnlyFans account as well too. So yeah, take from that what you will. So Kyleah Rose's Tolle's jury trial is currently scheduled to begin on June 1st of 2026, so of this year. Leading up to that date, there is a trial confirmation hearing set for May 22nd of 2026 as well. And these dates follow a series of just continuances that have delayed the proceedings throughout 2025. So as we know, as we've probably heard in the past, that these take a while to be able to get through the cases. There's a lot of stuff that there's going to be a lot of evidence, and especially when there is a loss of life, they want to make sure that they get this case right when they go through and do it. So yeah, like I'd mentioned earlier, her trial is set for June 1st of 2026, and then a confirmation hearing is happening a couple weeks before that on May 22nd of 2026 as well too. So we'll look forward to that and kind of seeing where we go with this stuff. Previously, she appeared for her arraignment over a year ago, on March of 2025, where she did enter when she went in there, as most people do as they go in. And if we continue the process, if we've been continuing it for a year, you can probably guess what her plea was. Yep, it was not guilty. Not guilty of the charges of first-degree manslaughter, criminal mistreatment, and family abandonment are the ones that she is waiting to see what they will do on those, and how we're going to go from that. So we'll probably find out more between now and June 1st, or it may just get continued again. She's currently facing 5 felony charges in Yakima County Superior Court related to the treatment of her 2 young daughters. The charges filed by the Yakima County Prosecutor's Office include several domestic violence enhancements. There's first-degree manslaughter regarding the death of her 7-month-old daughter, Cherry. There's the first-degree criminal mistreatment on the 2 counts of that. So 1 count for the deceased infant and 1 for the surviving 2-year-old daughter who was found severely malnourished. There's 2 counts of family abandonment, alleging that she left both children unattended in the home. And then first-degree animal cruelty, which is a 2023 case, a separate case involving the starvation of 2 dogs, 1 that had died. And then again, looking at things right here, so she's being held in Yakima County Jail with a combined bail amount, $20,000 for the manslaughter and the neglect case, and then the $5,000 out of this $25,000 altogether is for the animal cruelty. And should she post bail, the court has mandated strict conditions, including, so if she's able to actually get that $25,000 together and be able to post bail, she is strictly prohibited from any contact with her surviving 2-year-old daughter. She must check in with pretrial services within 24 hours of the release, and standard conditions for felony cases typically restrict travel outside of the county or state. They restrict her being able to do that without any prior approval. So yeah, that's just looking at that case right there. Evidence that's been discussed in court and from the investigation highlights the severe conditions in which the children were found and the timeline leading up to the infant's death. The scene when the police arrived at the apartment on February 25th, 2025, they found the 7-month-old Cherry deceased in a bassinet, and the surviving 2-year-old was found in a nearby crib. The apartment was reportedly in a state of extreme neglect, with really no food available there for those kids as well. Even if there was somewhere to feed them, there wasn't food there. An autopsy later confirmed that the infant died from severe dehydration, so without water, that's awful. Medical experts noted that this condition would have taken days to develop, indicating the child had been without fluid or care for a significant period. Yeah, that's pretty awful there too. The surviving 2-year-old daughter was found in critical condition. She was suffering from severe malnourishment, and then she was immediately airlifted to Harborview Medical Center in Seattle, where she underwent emergency surgery to save her life. Video footage captured during the initial welfare check and Tolle's subsequent interrogation has been central to the case. In these recordings, Tolle reportedly admitted to leaving the children alone for extended periods to pursue personal interest, which included staying at a campground. Investigators pointed to a sharp contrast between her active social media presence, where she frequently posted on platforms like OnlyFans, and then the state of the extreme neglect in her home. This has been used to argue that her failure to provide care was not due to a lack of resources, but just a choice that she made based on her priorities. Reports from the Yakima Herald-Republic, which is where I got a lot of this information from, they revealed that the Department of Children, Youth, and Family, so DCYF, had attempted contact with Tolle multiple times prior to the tragedy, but those interventions were unsuccessful. Evidence from a separate case showed that in 2025, Tolle had allegedly starved 2 dogs, which resulted in the death of one and severe emaciation of the other. Prosecutors have used this to establish a pattern of behavior regarding the neglect of those that are in her care. So whether it be people or dogs, she is not great at taking care of people that are supposed to be under her care. In Washington State, the charges against Kyleah Rose Tolle carry significant prison time if she is convicted at her upcoming trial. If found guilty, her sentence would be determined by Washington's standard sentencing grid, which considers the seriousness of the offense and any prior criminal history. So, for first-degree manslaughter, it's a Class A felony, punishable by up to life in prison and a fine of up to $50,000. Standard sentencing for someone with no prior felony record typically ranges from 6.5 to 8.5 years. But prosecutors may seek exceptional sentences due to the vulnerability of the victims. A 7-month-old and a 2-month-old, they are definitely dependents in every sense of the word. First-degree criminal mistreatment is the next charge, and that's a Class B felony. This carries a maximum of 10 years in prison. Family abandonment is another one that she is charged with, and this is a Class C felony, which can add up to 5 years per count, and she has 2 of those, one for the 7-month-old that she abandoned and one for the 2-year-old. And then the domestic violence enhancements that go along with that. So because the victims were her children, these enhancements allow a judge to impose a sentence at the top of the range or beyond standard guidelines. Specific details regarding the 2-year-old's current condition are limited to protect her privacy as a minor in the foster care system. Immediate medical care was essential. So after she was found in a severely malnourished state, she was reportedly, as a 2-year-old, only weighing 16 pounds. She was stabilized at Harborview Medical Center in Seattle. And then again, like as mentioned before, if Kyleah Rose Tolle does get out of jail, or even through jail, she has a strict no-contact order in place and is prohibited from having any interactions with the child. Unless, of course, she is proven not guilty as this goes through, and then she'll probably get to take care of her kid again. The child is currently under the care of the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, and is reportedly placed in a safe environment. The long-term outlook that goes along with this, so while her physical health was prioritized during her hospitalization, cases of extreme neglect often involve long-term developmental and psychological monitoring. As we are looking ahead to the legal process and things going on with this, recent court proceedings and investigative reports have brought several key pieces of evidence to light as we develop this case against Kyleah Rose Tolle, and as it moves toward its trial date of June 1st of 2026. The trial originally expected sooner, as these all are. They're always expected sooner, but there's always delays, continuances, and just other stuff that goes along with it, especially in this case as well, too. It's seen multiple delays throughout 2025 by agreement of both the prosecution and the defense. They want to make sure they get it right. The wheels of justice do move slowly, as we know. A critical pretrial omnibus hearing was held to determine exactly what evidence and testimony would be admissible during the jury trial. And then the Yakima County Prosecuting Attorney Joe Barusic has stated that the office intends to aggressively move forward due to the truly horrific nature of the crimes. The investigation of this began after Tolle. She's the one who, and just to look back on this and kind of go back to this and maybe point out with a little more emphasis that she was the one who called 911. So when she left, she decided she was actually going to go up into the mountains and end her life. So on February 25th of 2025, stating, as I had mentioned, stating she was leaving and intended to harm herself. Police tracked her down to that campground up there, the Squaw Rock in northeast of Natchez, where she was arrested after her car had ran out of gas. Investigators documented extreme neglect inside the apartment, including strong odors of animal waste and hazardous items within the reach of the children. This mirrored evidence from a separate 2023 case. That's why this one keeps coming back. Keep going back to this animal abuse case, because it's similar to the family neglect case as well, too. She neglected these animals in 2023. She neglected her own children in 2025. And allegedly, let's go with that. So in 2023, she allegedly starved 2 dogs, resulting in the death of one. A major focus of the prosecution is the contrast between Tolle's active curated presence on social media and OnlyFans, and the actual conditions of her home. This is being used to argue that the neglect was a matter of her choice and a priority that she had, like just a misguided priority, definitely, or a lack thereof of being able to decide what her priorities are, rather than the lack of resources that she could have had instead. A report from the Department of Children, Youth, and Families confirmed that caseworkers had attempted to contact Tolle multiple times before the tragedy, but they were unable to conduct a successful investigation. And again, going back to when some of the next things are scheduled to go along with this case. So a trial confirmation hearing is scheduled for May 22nd of 2026, so coming up in the next couple months, and then just some things going along with that. So as we do get into this, as the trial approaches, as the legal strategy for the defense and the reaction from the Yakima community have become central to the case's public profile. While a full defense strategy will be presented at the June 1st, 2026 trial, preliminary court hearings have indicated the following directions. So early on in the discussions in court and among the legal observers, they have touched upon Tolle's mental state at the time of the incident. The defense may point to potential undiagnosed or even untreated mental health issues that Kyleah may have, especially given her 911 call expressing the desire to end her life. During her arraignment, Tolle's public defender argued for a lower bail amount, so approximately 20 grand instead of the 25, citing her limited financial resources and status as an indignant defendant. This was in stark contrast to the prosecution's request for $500,000. So yeah, big difference right there between 20 grand and 500 grand. They settled on 25 and she still sits in jail. Her legal team has maintained a standard of not guilty pleas, emphasizing that the burden of proof does lie directly and entirely with the state to prove she was knowingly and intentionally causing the death and the suffering of her children. The case has sparked intense emotion and a call for systematic change in the Yakima area. So in a few ways, many community members expressed anger on social media regarding the $25,000 total bail, with some calling it an absolute joke, given the severity of these allegations. And a joke meaning that it's way too low. And I don't know, kind of agree with that too. There is a significant public frustration that has been directed at the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, so DCYF. Community members have questioned how the children remained in the home despite multiple reports of concern and warning signs, such as the 2023 animal cruelty incident. The community has also rallied around the police officers and the medical staff who first responded to the scene, acknowledging the trauma that goes along with that. Yeah, that's one we kind of forget about them once in a while. The people that actually have to go in and have to see what happened. It's one thing to be the one who's the perpetrator right there. The others who have to go in and actually see what a human could do to their own children, allegedly. The case has reached an international audience through platforms like the Explore With Us, so EWU documentary, leading to widespread online debate about the role of social media and masking domestic crises. And if you can find that is they were able to get actual footage, so the actual like body-worn camera and interrogation camera of her. And yeah, I would believe, like after seeing some of that, she does definitely have some mental issues. I would say I'm not a psychologist, but she's just very, very self-centered. Going along with this as well too, so some of the investigative insights, records show child welfare workers, they did reach out to Tolle, as I mentioned before. They reached out multiple times before the infant's death, just trying to get her help and trying to be able to see if there was things that could be done, because that's what these welfare workers do. They're out to help our children. And in the 2023 animal cruelty case, which involved the starvation of the dogs, was reportedly not charged immediately due to a shortage of attorneys in the prosecutor's office, a detail that has been added to public outcry about the system, this failing system that we have. Evidence regarding Kyleah Rose Tolle's 911 call and social media presence has become a central pillar of the prosecution's case, used to contrast her outward-facing digital life with the reality inside her home. The investigation has triggered which was triggered on February 25th after the event happened. Tolle called 911, and then during the call, she reportedly told dispatchers that she believed her baby was dead. So she made this admission, over the phone, over 911. She believed that her baby was dead and that she was going to leave the area. She's just leaving. Her baby's dead. She's going to leave her there in the bassinet. And she had this intention to go and end her own life. Police used the signal from the call to track her to the Squaw Rock Resort and Campground up northeast of Natchez, and she was found at the store near the campground, and she was actually using the Wi-Fi up there. She had asked someone in one of the other trailers that was around there what the Wi-Fi is for the area, because when you get up there and up in that area, you do not get a cell phone signals. You have to use Wi-Fi. There's not cell towers up there. It's pretty dense forest, and I would imagine they have to put a lot of towers out there to be able to get a very good signal. So, and you go get Wi-Fi instead. And this was after her vehicle had ran out of gas. Extensive body cam footage from the arrest and subsequent interrogation has been analyzed, and legal findings and true crime documentaries like those with the Explore With Us, EWU. In these recordings, investigators note a lucid and articulated demeanor during some conversations which prosecutors may use to counter her mental health defense. And then going along with just some of this as well too, prosecutors have pointed to Tolle's active presence on social media platforms, especially OnlyFans, during the period of the alleged neglect. The prosecution intends to use her consistent posting schedule to argue that she had the means and the mental capacity to manage an online business while her children were suffering. This evidence is being used to show that her failure to provide care was a choice of priorities, rather than just her not having the resources to be able to take care of her children or a complete mental breakdown. The specific detail has fueled much of the public outrage, as digital footprints often showed her engaged and active online while her 7-month-old was fatally dehydrating and her 2-year-old was starving. So just some of the digital evidence that goes along with this, it is going to be huge as they go into try to determine whether she is mentally able to be able to comprehend what's going on, and also to kind of be able to put a footprint on everything that's gone on, and when she was making videos and when she was interacting with people and probably collecting money on OnlyFans from people who get her to do things. Yeah, anyways. So DCYF, they had an interaction. So records released during the discovery phase show that the Department of Children, Youth, and Families had visited Tolle at least 18 times over a 3-year period leading up to this 2025 incident. Evidence from the 2023 animal cruelty case where she allegedly starved 2 dogs is also being introduced to establish a long-standing pattern of neglect. The next step, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be the trial confirmation hearing on May 22nd. This is at least what's scheduled, where the judge will finalize which of these digital and medical records can be presented to the jury. So there it is, just an update on things going on in that trial. I will be back with you regarding this one. I'm going to keep this one in the forefront to be able to give you updates as things go on and things change. I'll try to be on that right away to let you know what's going on. And in the meantime, I want to thank you for listening. Go ahead, like, subscribe, follow, and give me that 5-star review. If you got questions or comments, or you want to hear something about any of the cases going on here in Yakima, or even beyond, I like to cover a lot of stuff. I definitely go down the rabbit hole chasing things every once in a while, and that's kind of how I found this case as well. So, yeah, go ahead and hit me up. Let me know what you want to hear, what you want to see, what you want to do, and I will create a podcast for you. All right, have a great day.